if you try to manage everything yourself, you go crazy, you go mad. So you need those people to manage those different things. And so now, like, to keep a star like there's a whole village behind. There's a whole village behind making a star now.
So welcome, Anamika, Anand, Aka, Madhuri Dixit.
Thanks.
I had to start with a cheesy line, but tell me, if you were to meet your character Anamika, well, I would tell her, calm down a bit. What would you tell her?
Yeah, the same thing, that it's okay, things will work out and don't worry about anything. That's fine. It's okay. Not everybody has like smooth sailing through their lives. But because, it's a mystery, and because we're trying to create that atmosphere of, tension and everything, I think things are a little exaggerated in her life. All the problems are like, all of them are in her life, because it's that genre where you have to create that, atmosphere where it's mysterious, and yet at the base of it, it's all family drama, relationships with everyone. And when they get that in that zone, then you kind of get that mystery going,
You mentioned the word exaggerated. I want to know, how close are our movies and the life you've led in the movies to what is actually shown on in the Fame game?
Well, the thing is that, I'm not saying that in our private lives everything is always hunky-dory, everything is going on fine. Of course there are hiccups, but that's in everybody's life, right? It's nothing out of the blue. And with Anamika, I think everything is happening to her, basically. She's losing control of everything in her life, and she feels like her life is just unraveling at that point, when she's trying to make it and she's trying to survive with that fame, which is, that's very important to her, because that's the life she's led, and that's where the mother pushes her always, that you have to, be famous, you have to be in the limelight. Yeah, fame, aaj aaye, udya nahi. I don't imagine my mom would ever say that to me.
Exactly, I was just going to say that.
Less about that. But I'm saying, because of all those pressures that she's going through, she's a very different person from who I am. I'm very secure with who I am. I'm very comfortable in my skin. But she is not. Anamika Anand is basically at the root of it a very insecure kind of a person. So I would say it's okay, just calm down. It will all work out finally.
You mentioned, has there been any moment, give me an anecdote where you, or an instance where you remember, shit, I've gone through something like this while you were doing the scenes. You had like an out of body experience, or you should even I waited on the set so long, or
yeah. I mean, at that time we used to do 3 shifts, remember, and 2 shifts. So sometimes we used to be on the set waiting for another person to turn up who's on another set, who hasn't finished yet, who's coming late. It's like, it used to be, and then I go and give it to the Manav.
Have you ever? I know
there were a lot of times when I thought I have to give it to this guy.
I know of several instances when you were very sweetly given a piece of your mind. But for the record, have you?
Well, a few times, but I won't tell you who or what.
I know. Tell me an instance when you recall in the film, like the family portions were beautiful, especially vis-a-vis your children. I'm sure you've never had, because you have boys, you have no problem, those kind of problems, like a daughter wanting to be an actress. But have you heard of cases where the parent is in a vulnerable situation because the mother knows this girl she can't go through, because our kids are so privileged and entitled. They've not been through the hardships. But then the mother knows. Have you heard of an instance? So, I mean, what is your take on, I thought that was really beautiful, the mother-daughter and the mother-son especially equation.
Yeah. No, I think there's always, like, even if my son tomorrow says that, oh, I want to be in films, I want to work in films, of course, I'll be a little apprehensive about that, saying that, you have to work really hard, because we know what kind of life you lead. And we know what can go wrong and what can go right. And it's always the what can go wrong kind of worries the parent first, right? And but I think, so somewhere I don't know if किसी के life में क्या हुआ है, I don't know, but I'm talking about myself, that at first I'll feel a little apprehensive, and then that's the same advice I'll give my child, like I told Amara, that you have that focus, you think you can, go at it and do it relentlessly, and not care about anything else, just work and go through the ups and downs with a level headed. Would you be able to do all that? And those are the questions you ask. And I'm sure a lot of parents are, going through that right now, where the kids are wanting to be actors, and they themselves are actors. And I'm sure they are like, but to a large extent, if he does, then I know that I know the field and I can guide him, properly. And that's what every parent feels, that I should be able to guide my kid properly. And so all those thoughts go on in your mind. And that's exactly what I was thinking when I was telling Amara in that scene, कि क्या तुम focus कर पाओगी, will you be like heart and soul focused into one thing and do it to the best of your ability? So exactly.
I remember when you had come, you had told me your kids are completely unaware about you as an actor and all of that. When did they really understand the part of the fame game?
But the thing is, when we moved here, they were very young. It was 6 and 8. And then they had not completely experienced that when we were in Denver. Because, I had Indian friends, but they were chilled because they had seen me. They were, they were my friends finally. All that, the initial fandom and all that was gone. And we were like friends, like regular friends. So when we moved here, it was a little more, psychophantic in that kind of a thing, and with paparazzi everywhere, which was not there initially. Like when I started working, we didn't have people waiting outside restaurants to click you and, those kind of things. So for them, it was like, oh my God, what's happening? It was a little confusing for them. But then slowly they started realizing, and now they're old enough, they know. I mean, they also watch so much content, they know stories, they know everything. And so today, now they are much more comfortable with it than they used to be initially. I think they just take it in their stride now, and they're chilled about it. It's not.
Do they resent the fame game?
No, they don't resent it. They just find it strange.
Tell me more about your sons. What are their interests besides, of course, watching your movies and stuff like that? What are they?
Oh my God, they don't sit and watch my movies. Don't put it that way, as if they sit and watch my movies. My God, no way. They are. My older guy is interested in music. He's a very, very good musician. He produces his own music. He plays the piano, the tabla, the guitar, the drums, and he is also interested in physics and math and computers. So he's got both our genes. Both my children actually have both our genes. What they do with it now is up to them, Like my older one, for IB, he had high-level math, physics, and drama, which was a very strange combination. So he's done a few plays, and he's quite good on stage, actually. I was like, what? When did this happen? I didn't know this. So anyways, so he's still finding out his way and feeling his way around because of the kind of, palette he has in front of him. He likes all these things. But the younger one is more of a STEM guy, like science, technology, engineering, math kind of a guy. He loves music, and his when he watches something or he looks at something, he can, he can read in between lines and all that, and he'll tell you exactly what's going on. And I remember the first time the teaser had come out of the Fame game, he looked at it and he says, Mom, when I see this, she's saying, oh, my life is so beautiful, but she sounds sad. And as if, and this is just a teaser, the first teaser that had come out. And he kind of grabbed the whole thing down and to the T. And I was like, my mouth was gaping. I said, did you got all this just by watching this few seconds teaser? He's like, yeah, mom, it's someone who's very sad with her life, and she's saying all these things, touch wood and all, but I think something is going to happen to her, something bad. So he's. Let's see what they do with it. I just want them to do what they are passionate about.
Do they also confide in you, like the boy and the girl? Do they confide in you about their heartbreaks?
Well, not really. I mean, for boys, it's like they walk into the house. So what happened? Nothing. What did you do in school today? Nothing. So they won't tell me what's happening in their lives, but they will chat with me about everything else. It's like, yeah, mom, we went there and we did this and blah, 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 and what's going on. And so it's like, you are their friend, but yet they have some things they want to hold back.
Are you an over worrier, overthinker mom, overprotective mom? What kind of mom are you?
Yeah, I'm a very protective mom. Not over, but I'm very protective. I don't worry. I'm not a worrier. I mean, not a worrier, but I'm very protective about my kids, and I want to, not to them to not have any bad experiences in life, and want their life to be, smooth and all that. But I think life teaches you a lot, and I want them to learn a lot from life.
The LGBTQ community absolutely loves you. They always loved you. You were this huge gay icon. And now because the interesting thing is empathy. When you tell your son what you do, it shows a lot of empathy. How much empathy is required as an actor?
I think to be convincing, you have to really believe what you're doing, right? To be convincing. And for me, I think that scene was so beautiful. Also, I had to make sure that, what we're touching upon is pure, is like real, it's pure, and it's exactly how we want it to be. And there were a few things that I changed in the way the mother approaches the son, and we made a few dialogue changes up and down to make it more real. Like, how can you just ask someone like that outright? It's not possible for a mother, and she says that there's no way. How do you ask? There's no other way to do this than plainly just come out and ask. So that was something that I thought in that scene, which was not there originally. And then of course I had such a good actor in Lakshveer, who was working on that scene, and we were very careful to make sure that it does not ring false even for a second. And I think we came out really well, because I really think in life, I mean, your sexuality should not define who you are. What you do with your life, how you affect other people's lives, that should define who you are. Not your sexuality, like who you like. You should be free to love who you like. And I really believe in that. Like, so I think all that was in my mind when I did that scene.
Has there been a real life incident where a friend or somebody has confided in you, and you've been like the strong support, and when you went back to America or you came back? Because our profession has so many members of the LGBTQ. Or,
yes.
Like, I know for a fact you're like a rock, like you're a good, solid person. I myself have had conversations with you, and they have stayed with you forever. So you have this ability to absorb also amazingly, which is what I said, the quality for an actor is empathy.
Yes.
And you have that in spades. So how do you has there been a real life incident where someone has confided about their sexuality or about their demons, and have you dealt with something?
Yeah, I had quite a few friends, even in Denver, even here, who have told me a lot of different things to do with their lives, and talk to me about it, and we have discussed it at length, and how it's so hard for people to understand sometimes what they're going through. So there have been incidents, and even after the series release, there were a lot of fans who wrote to me saying that when I saw that scene when the son says this to the mother, They cried. 2, 3 of them wrote that we cried because this is exactly what we said to our mother when we came out, saying that, I feel ashamed. I'm sorry. Those are the words. And there was someone who said, I wish my mother would have reacted the way you did on in the thing. And she said that kind of brought tears to my eyes. And I'm like, and she says, I hope people see that and the mothers realize and they react the way you did to their kids. And I thought that was so moving, for me. Because even if few parents like say, okay, this is the attitude we're going to do, and it'll make so many people happier. And finally, what is it? What do we strive for? Our families, right? And what are you going to do by destroying that fabric? You have to understand your kids, and you have to keep that family together, and you have to do everything to do that.
Also interesting, through the daughter, you address issues of body shaming, a lot of, and we are in a profession which emphasizes beauty, and you are one of the big, massive beauty standards. But how do you approach a situation like that, in real life, when somebody is facing body, and you do it so beautifully in the fame game? So how do you do it in real life? In real life, we're all going through so many complexes, neuroses.
I don't know how I would, because I have not really come across this situation, but I had gone through that situation when I had started. And my mom stood by me like a rock. She was like, because they used to think I'm too skinny to be a heroine. And, at that time, all the ladies at the top were all buxom ladies. And I was a Maharashtrian youngster who came in like a petite little thing. And people used to say, no, isko mota karo, isko, like, get her to put on a little bit of weight and stuff like that. So my mom used to be so encouraging. And she used to tell me, look, you are what you are. And the day you become famous, they'll forget all this. They'll say, oh, someone who looks like Madhuri should become, do you look like her? The people should say that tomorrow. And don't worry about anything. And she was like a solid rock behind me. To all the brickbats or whatever people used to throw at me, she used to be the one who used to stand up and say, don't even, think about that. You do your work. And the day you do it well, and the day one film becomes popular, everything changes, So yeah, that's the kind of attitude I took with Amara when she says that she doesn't feel beautiful, or she doesn't, she hates herself, or that whole scene that shook me. That scene after she did it, I swear, after the director said cut, I couldn't stop crying, because that scene really hit me. Because maybe that's what I felt when people were, criticizing me or whatever, that maybe there should be something different about me, But yeah, that scene was something.
I remember the brickbats, people saying retire prematurely, you should leave, pack your bags. And then you ruled for 30 years and you're still ruling as this super icon. Do you catch your breath sometimes? Do you feel overwhelmed? People don't live for that long. You had like a massive 30, 35 years, solid career. And Gautam Rajadhyaksha told me once, and I keep saying it all the time. It's not enough to have talent. You have to have temperament. And, for me, the perfect example is you, Amit ji, Shah Rukh. When you see the combination of talent and temperament, you want to expand on that a bit?
Well, I think it's not just all that, it's the love for what you do. That is what keeps you going. It doesn't matter who says what about you. Failures, highs, lows are part of everybody's life. Nobody is untouched by that, right? You could be the most popular hero, but there are ups and downs you must have gone through. If you take any of the people you talked about, Amit ji or Shah Rukh, I'm sure they also went through upheavals in their lives. But what keeps you going? What keeps you going is a love for what you do. And I love doing what I do. And I want to do it to the best. Every time I'm in front of this camera, I want to give it my best shot. I want to do my best. And I think that never ends. that never ends in you. And that's the way we are made. And so I think that's what keeps you going to do better, to do something that you love, to get up in the morning and say, hey, today I'm doing this, and be enthusiastic about it, and be excited about it every day of your life.
Are there moments when you feel vulnerable, like Anamika? I mean, Anamika is, of course, it's a bit exaggerated, her vulnerability, because, like you said, she's not a sure person. Like she's, have there been give me an instance when you've really felt vulnerable at the peak of your career? It could be some incident that happened, and you bounced back. Because, like they say, vulnerability for an actor is like so superb.
Yeah, what happens is even sometimes the success you go through can bring that vulnerability, because after Hum Aapke Hain Kaun became a success, everybody was, now what? Now this has become so successful. What else can she do now? The big question mark. What's next for Madhuri? It's like so much pressure, to do that. And then Raja came on the heels of Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. So then it became a big hit, and it was like, Sanjay was comparatively new at that time, and I was the star who was headlining it. And then it was like, now what? After Raja, what? So every time it's like a bigger expectation from you. And there was a time when they started saying, oh, now she should get married. And
I was going to come to that.
Thank God that girls don't have to go through that now.
Yeah.
Because, now she is this age, now she should get married, and she should do this, and she should do that. And so many, suggestions being given. And I was like, why should that be the end all of everybody's achievement? Marriage is not the, like, okay, now she's achieved the highest thing in life. Now she's married. Now she can settle down, and now she can go away or whatever. But for me, it was like, what? And then Dil To Pagal Hai happened. So then after that, people just stopped saying anything.
Did you find the media sexist or patriarchal? Imagine asking someone after they're 25 or 30, why aren't you married? Is that's too personal? You were...
Yeah, it's personal. It's your point of view. It's your prerogative in life. It's yours, your decision to make, not someone else to say that now it's time. And even my parents never said that to me. My own parents never said that to me. So it was quite strange.
I missed not seeing you in a full-fledged dance performance. Why did you deprive us of that in the Fame game? There is a semi-dance, and it gets cut. Why was there no full-fledged dancing?
We released that later.
Okay.
So that we've dropped that video. We actually shot for it, and we dropped the video because I think in the narrative, it was part of a narrative, and it was not like a movie where a song is part of the narrative. Here, shooting chal rahi hai was the narrative, and then this is what happens in the end, where the guy who's playing the hero in the thing, and his timing goes wrong. So she says, "Kuch easy kar de kya isko," and it wasn't needed there. The whole song wasn't needed there, but we knew that people would like to watch it, so we kind of shot it and then we released it later.
Besides you, which Bollywood actor, male or female, you think handles the Fame game well?
I think today everybody's handling the Fame game very well, because they also have a team of people who are managing them, who are advising them. Also because women are more independent, and they are their own decision makers, and so I think people are managing it very well. They have a great head on their shoulders, and I think they have learned from experience of the others, on how to conduct and what to do, and I think they're doing it very well now. And Fame game, I mean, for the series, it's a game, but actually it cannot be a game, because Fame is, for me, something that is a byproduct of what I do, because I act in movies, and if I do it to the best of my ability, and if I manage to convince people of my role that I'm doing, then people like it, and then you're famous because you have done something that people like. But it cannot be, it's not the end all for me. I think my life is more of the game for me, not like Anamika, for who fame is the game for her.
I mean, of course, you've not seen it, but have you heard vicariously, or there is a darker side to Bollywood? The
Yeah,
kind
we
of,
so many stories. I mean, so many
yeah, yeah.
stories about different stars. Somebody's this happened or that happened. Why you don't even have to be a star. Even in real life, you hear of abuse. You hear of so many things. Of ordinary people, not people who are only stars. But you do hear stories, and then I think all that is kind of amalgamated into one script to make it more interesting, to say things through the series. We've said a lot of things. And I think when people start quoting that and remembering the dialogues and remembering scenes at various points, that's when you know that you've managed to touch their emotions, you managed to do capture their imagination, you managed to do all that. So I think for Fame Game, that has been a great thing, that people are watching it and absorbing it and keeping that and thinking about it even after they've watched the series.
There was a strand of Bhumika in the Fame Game, I felt, especially with Ai and the son, like Smita Patil's combative relationship with her mother, Sulbha, in Bhumika. I found a strain of that with you and your mom in
Suhasini.
and Suhasini Mule, and in sharp contrast to with your husband. You want to talk about that? I mean, have you seen such relationships where the daughter is like the golden goose, and the husband is living off this thing? What's your take on? I mean, he's clearly a sponger in the Fame Game, and the mother is so brutal. She's so brutal, and we've only seen happy mothers around us all the time. So, was it alien to you when you first heard it?
It was not completely alien, because you hear of overbearing mothers, like, from different directors, is a baby ke liye juice lao, maa ke liye bhi lao, all those kind of things, which were taken in humor. But there were, there was a time and place where the parents used to be very overbearing and making sure that, the kids are, because they used to be the only earners in the family. And, there used to be a lot of issues with that. Yes, we've heard stories about that, and I think you kind of take from that and you bring it, into your world that you're creating. So that's what we did with the whole Suhasini ji and me, the whole relationship between us, which she played so well.
Yeah. Because she's so not like that.
But what I liked about Anamika also, despite all that, she doesn't disrespect her mother. She will say things to her, but in a very respectable, respectful tone. Even if she's telling her off, she will be respectable, respectful to her mother.
Now, Anamika gets a lot of advice from whether it's a husband, whether it's a children, whether it's a producers, whether it's a sleazy producer, whether it's whoever. What's the worst and best piece of advice that you've got?
The best piece of advice always came from my mom. Always. Like about anything. If somebody said, "Acha, ye iska aisa kar lo, waisa kar," she said, "Don't even forget it. You are who you are, and you will be popular for who you are." And so all the good advice came from her. Bad advice, there are a lot of people who can give you bad advice.
But give me an example.
So one example I can think about is that when I wanted to do Mrityudand, a lot of people advised me against it. They said, "You are the baby of commercial cinema. How can you do Mrityudand?" Because it's a very artistic film. So there was always a demarcation between like commercial and artistic films. So, and I was very adamant. I wanted to do it because I loved the script. I loved my role as Ketki, who kind of stands up for herself and her family. And it was like a really good woman empowerment kind of a thing. And all the actors were brilliant, from Shabana ji to Mohan Joshi to everyone in the Mohan Agashi, and everyone was so good in the thing. So I really wanted to do it, and I did it. And I think even today, people, kind of talk about Mrityudand when they talk about my filmography.
I remember you and me sitting in the van. There was Bahadur and Chandar, and there was one more person. Today you have a village around you, like literally an army.
Yes. Because now, there's so much you have to do. There is not, initially when we did movies, the promotion used to be talking to a few magazines which were there, film magazines, and then a few newspapers, maybe, talk to them. And they used to release the trailers, a little bit of the songs used to get released, and then the film came, and that was it. That was the thing. But today, because of social media, there's so many departments there is like the Twitter, there's the Insta, then you have to do something for YouTube, then you have to do something for the digital magazines, and then, so if you try to manage everything yourself, you go crazy, you go mad. So you need those people to manage those different things. And so now, like, to keep a star like there's a whole village behind. There's a whole village behind making a star now.
Do you miss the simpler times?
Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes I do reminisce, and I feel, it was so simple first, and now it's so complicated. And having said that, I enjoy what I do, even on Insta, like making reels, and I enjoy doing that because it's fun, I think.
What else has changed? What else has changed, and how have you reinvented yourself?
I don't know. I don't know the reinventing self. I think one has to, keep thinking forward. Like, I want to do good stuff. I want to do roles. What do I have to prove now? I want to do good roles. I want to do roles in which I can sink my teeth, show my craft, and those kind of things. It doesn't matter where you are on this big parda in the cinema hall or on OTT, where, people can see you on TV or the iPad, or as it is, people are consuming content whichever way they want,
Finally, what was it like shooting during the pandemic?
Wow. It could have been like a harrowing experience, but we had started shooting for our series. We shot for 2-3 days in March, I remember, and then the lockdown happened, like a complete lockdown where everybody was sitting in their houses. And we started shooting on this in Nashik in November that year. And I remember we created a bio bubble where everybody was tested, like every 2 days, everybody was tested. And all the protocols were there on the set. We're sanitizing, wearing the PPE outfits, and it was like masks and everything, the works. And that's the atmosphere we shot in. Literally, because we were ensconced like together, that we actually started like feeling like a family, right there on the set, because we had a little bungalow in Nashik, and we were shooting all day there for some 20-30 days. And we were like, completely like, and I think somewhere the cohesiveness of the script and the characters and everything just worked out so beautifully. And we look back and we were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. We shot in such strange times, and yet we were so comfortable. And when you finally see the product, and when people see it and they appreciate it, it's all worth every instance we spent on it.
Great. Thank you for being in conversation. As always, it's a huge pleasure.
Yeah, same here, Jitesh.
Thank you. See you soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Yeah, talk to you.
Thank you. Bye.